My name is Joshua Mugabi. I welcome you to Inheritance and Evolution. We are on Learning Outcome F. Assess speciation and resistance, mechanism driving them, and factors contributing to extinction event through comparison of historical and contemporary examples. We are on Learning Activity A. Learner search for isolation mechanism, speciation, and factors that contribute to extinction. Prior up to discuss and make a write-up to present to the class. We are on isolation mechanism. We shall look at two populations of frogs. Item 1. A pond splits into two separate ponds due to landslide. Each pond now has a population of frogs that cannot physically interact. Identify the type of isolation affecting the frog populations. List examples of pre-zygotic and post-zygotic isolation mechanisms. Discuss how these mechanisms prevent gene flow. Let us start with identify the type of isolation affecting the frog populations. Types of isolation is geographical isolation. List examples of pre-zygotic and post-zygotic isolation mechanisms. Examples. Pre-zygotic, we have the temporal isolation. Those are different breeding times. Behavioral isolation, different mating calls. Mechanical isolation, incompatible reproductive organs. Then the post-zygotic, we have hybrid inviability, hybrid sterility. Discuss how these mechanisms prevent gene flow. Significance. Prevents interbreeding between populations, allow accumulation of genetic differences, potentially leading to speciation. Let's now look at flowering plants. We are still on isolation mechanism. Two species of flower live in the same area, but attract different pollinators. One attracts bees, the other birds. Identify the isolation mechanism. Explain how this reduces hybrid formation. Let's start with identifying the isolation mechanism. Isolation mechanism is ecological, behavioral isolation, pollinator specificity. Explain how this reduces hybrid formation. Significance. Different pollinators prevent cross-fertilization. and this maintains species integrity. Let's now look at speciation. Darwin's finches. Item 3. Students examine big differences among finches on the Galapagos Islands, noticing variation in diet and habitats. Identify the type of speciation shown. Explain the evolutionary process that lead to different finch species. Discuss the role of natural selection in speciation. Let's start with identify the type of speciation shown. Type of speciation is allopatric speciation. This is due to geographical isolation. Explain the evolutionary process that led to different fish species. Original finch population separated by islands. Mutation and natural selection favored beak shapes suited for different food sources. Over generations, population became genetically distinct. Discuss the role of natural selection in speciation. Significance. It leads to the formation of new species adapted to specific ecological niches. Still under speciation, let us look at chinchillid fish in African lakes. Students observe over 500 chinchillid species in Lake Victoria with different feeding strategies and correlation. Identify the type of speciation. Explain the factors that drive rapid diversification in these fish. Let's start with identify the type of speciation. The type of speciation is sympatric speciation. This occurs in the same geographical area. Explain the factors that drive rapid diversification in these fish. Factors: the behavioral isolation, mating preferences, niche differentiation, diet, habitat, sexual selection, color patterns. Significance: shows that speciation can occur without physical separation. Let's now look at factors contributing to extinction. We shall focus on island species decline. Item 5. A small island has a unique bird species. Human activity introduces predators and reduces forest cover. Identify the factors leading to species decline. Classify them as natural or human-induced. Explain the ecological consequences of extinction. Let's start with identify the factors leading to species decline. The factors: habitat destruction, that is deforestation. Introduction of predators like rats and cats, and limited population size. Classify them as natural or human-induced. Classification: human-induced, there is habitat destruction, introduced predators. Natural, we have small population, vulnerability, environmental fluctuations. Explain the ecological consequences of extinction. Consequences: loss of biodiversity, disruption of food webs, possible ecosystem imbalance. Still under factors contributing to extinction, let us now focus on climate change impact. Item 6. A polar bear population experiences melting ice caps and reduced hunting grounds. Identify the environmental factors affecting survival. Explain how such factors influence extinction risks. Let's start with identify the environmental factor affecting survival. The environmental factor is climate change or global warming. Explain how such factors increase extinction risk. Extinction risk increases because loss of habitat reduces population size. Reduced food availability leads to starvation. Smaller populations are more susceptible to disease and genetic bottlenecks. Integrated activity, class discussion. We shall focus from isolation to speciation to extinction. Item 7. Students examine a hypothetical population of lizards on multiple islands. One island has predators introduced, another has abundant food, and a third is isolated with no predators. Predict which population might undergo speciation. Predict which population are at risk of extinction. Explain how isolation, environmental pressures, and human activity influence survival. Let's start with predict which population might undergo speciation. Population on isolated island is likely to undergo speciation due to lack of gene flow and adaptation to unique niches. Predict which population are at risk of extinction. Population on island with predators is at risk of extinction due to predation and reduced numbers. Explain how isolation, environmental pressures, and human activity influence survival. Significance. Isolation, like natural selection, leads to formation of new species. Habitat loss and human interference, this one accelerated extinction. Conclusion. Isolation mechanisms prevent interbreeding and allow populations to diverge. Speciation is the formation of a new species via evolutionary processes. Extinction occurs when populations fail to adapt to environmental or anthropogenic pressures. Understanding these processes helps conserve biodiversity and maintain ecological balance. Thank you very much for participating in Inheritance and Evolution. We have been looking at learning outcome F, assess speciation and resistance, mechanism driving them, and factors contributing to extinction events through comparison of historical and contemporary examples. Our learning activity has been A, learners search for isolation mechanism, speciation, and factors that contribute to extinction. Pair up to discuss and make a write-up to present to the class. If this one has been useful to you, visit me at Mugabi Joshua Biology on YouTube.